Let's bring in Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, Marwan Bishara. Now, he's in London and joins us live. So we know that Biden had a phone call with Benjamin Netanyahu today, the first one in almost 2 months. The White House is saying it was 30 minutes long. It was, quote, direct and productive. What can we read into that?
From the statement, not much, right? Because the statement is meant to obfuscate what is going on. It's spinning. So actually, we don't know what went on, because productive could mean we agreed on to bombing the hell out of Iran, or productive could have meant, well, we agreed not to bomb the hell out of Iran. We don't know what productive means, right? And we also don't know if it was productive at all, and they just want to, keep up the appearance of civil American-Israeli relations. We don't know. What we do know is that the Americans have lied to us again and again and again. They lied to us notably when it came to the idea of blocking humanitarian aid, and they lied to us repeatedly on the question of a ceasefire, or the absence of it, or the imminency of it. And that was especially Antony Blinken, who was, the spinner in chief, if you will, of American diplomacy, always telling us lies. So I think the basic wisdom is don't trust and verify.
Would you say, Marwan, that it's the US lying to the world again and again, or is it Netanyahu lying to the US, going along with this idea, for example, of a ceasefire until the last minute when he doesn't?
I think the United States knows all too well what Netanyahu was up to, because we know from various leaks. For example, right, Biden said to certain people in a fundraiser in Washington, Netanyahu is pursuing this for his own interest, personal interest. Netanyahu would like to prolong this war, or Netanyahu is going to do the land invasion. So I think America, in terms of its capacity for intelligence, its contacts with Israel, and so on and so forth, and their knowledge, their intimate knowledge of Netanyahu, with whom they worked for 25 years, they know he's the ultimate liar. I mean, they know he's a pathological liar. That's at least the only thing that the British, French, and the American leadership once agreed to when Obama was in the White House. But be that as it may, there's no doubt that Netanyahu is the pathological liar, but he's transparent. Right? We know he lies all the time. The United States tried to be more intelligent about it, so it's spinning it all the time. And that's why we have the Matthew Miller's types, right? That always trying to put, a kind of a soft spin on most things, that America cares for the value of human life, while at the same time, more than 40,000 people are killed in Gaza.
And they may try and put a spin on it, but at the end of the day, it's not hard to see that they don't use the only leverage that they have, which is sending the weapons to Israel. How do you think this has damaged or altered the US's standing at home and in the broader world?
Laura, as a student of Israel-American relationships, I can tell you, and I can actually remind our viewers around the world, at each and every occasion when the United States did pressure Israel, use its leverage. For example, 1991, the Bush senior administration decided to freeze any economic aid that had to do with the so-called loan guarantees to Israel, as long as Shamir did not join the International Peace Conference in Madrid. Period. They said, you will be punished. At the time, Secretary Baker said, we're not going to call you. If you need us, call us, and here's the White House phone number. It was a direct rebuke of the Israeli government, and the Israeli government listened. In 1982, a decade before that, the United States wanted to sell AWACS airplanes to Saudi Arabia. Israel said no. Its lobby in Washington lobbied against the sales of $8 billion of AWACS. It was a national American interest. So America told Israel to go to hell and sold the AWACS to Saudi Arabia. It was, at the time, the Reagan administration was one of the closest administrations to Israel. But when push comes to shove, and America thinks Americans' interests are at stake, they put the necessary leverage on the Israelis to do what the Israelis must do as a client, rogue or not rogue. In this case, for me, and this is probably the most important line I will say today, maybe I'll say this year, is there any reason why the United States should pressure Israel when the elections are coming, when American interests are being served, when Arab leaders continue to beg and appease the American administrations, when the Palestinians are divided, when the Europeans continue to walk in the American footsteps. Why should Biden use a political capital, use leverage with a Netanyahu government, right? When there is no one asking for it in the Middle East? Not really.
Yeah, very interesting indeed, Marwan. Those questions need to be asked. They're not being answered. But thanks especially for that historical context that you give us there on the situation.